That's right, on Phoenix FM 89.5 Lusaka City, where only the best is good enough. It's that time of the day, that time of the show, where we have NAPSA and You radio program coming to you courtesy of National Pension Scheme Authority, of course, obviously. Now, the program comes to you every week, every Tuesday, actually, at 8:30. And today on the show, we feature Mrs. Pamela Silungwe, the station manager for Larger Employer Unit South, who will talk us through the newly introduced penalty waiver. Good morning.
Good morning back then. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. How's the morning so far?
The morning is all right.
Are you a morning person? Give or take.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so let's get right into it. Kindly update us on the penalty waiver.
All right. Just a little recap.
Mm-hmm.
We rolled out the penalty waiver as an authority on the 17th of January.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the law changed last year in December on the 6th. Mm-hmm. But of course, we had to wait for regulations that stipulate how this waiver is supposed to be administered. And we know that employers have been anxiously waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So on the 8th, the Minister of Labour did sign off these regulations. And as NAPSA, we kickstarted on the 17th. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, that's what has been happening.
All right, and so what are some of the terms and conditions that that govern the penalty waiver?
Probably before I go to the T's and C's, just as a way of update.
Yes.
So far, we've had about 2,397 employers that have now signed up.
Wow.
So when we talk about sign up, we're basically talking about the KYC aspect of the process. So this is where the employer is able to update their contact details and the entity details they're able to update. And from that number, we've had so far, as at yesterday, 337 that have successfully applied. And their penalties have been waived off. So it's not just a story, it is happening.
It is happening.
And if you look at that number, the figure attached to that, we have 41,237,663.47 ingwe that has been waived off,
nice.
Which is a huge load off employers' shoulders.
True.
So that's as a way of update. Coming to your questions or the T's and C's, this is very crucial and critical for employers to know, and it's something that will pop up as one of the first things before you get into the waiver itself, because we don't want you to be surprised. You need to know what is it that you're getting yourself into. And one of the first things, of course, it's an online process, so there's nothing like paperwork, so it's online. And then apart from that, one has to do the KYC. One employer has to do the KYC. So like I said, you update your contact details and also the entity details. Apart from that, there are certain things that we require the employer to clean up. So they need to update all missing contributions. So these may come in two folds. So it could be that an employer paid some time back, but they did not give us the supporting returns. So these are details of employees who they're paying for.
Okay.
Before we automated the process, that was manual. So we have those scenarios. And there could be situations where an employer did not pay or had skipped some months, like the advert.
Yes.
So you need to upload all returns. So apart from that, an employer needs to make payments for what is outstanding for the period to which they want to apply. So it should not scare off employers. So if you have a huge period that is unpaid, for what you have cleared, then you can apply. So you can apply a couple of times. Then when it comes to the returns, we are emphasizing that the employer should upload correct returns. This has repercussions, because if we discover later on that they're not correct, we can revoke the waiver and we can reinstate the penalties. Because remember, these details have an impact on employees' contributions. These are members' funds. So if you're going to under-declare or leave out some people from your list, it has an impact. So please, we emphasize, make sure that they're correct, and so that you don't suffer the revocation and us reinstating the penalties. Then there are scenarios where an employer could have been on a time to pay agreement, where we do enter into what we call TPS, where an employer is owing a huge sum of money, so they can pay it over a period of time. Those also do qualify for a waiver. The only thing is that we expect you to opt out.
Okay.
And of course, like I said earlier on, if they are outstanding, because the TPA can be on two things, it could be on outstanding contributions, it could be on penalties. So if it's on outstanding contributions, of course, then you have to clear what is outstanding, then apply a waiver on that amount. Then if it's on penalties, then of course you just make an application. But of course, if you're on a TPA and you already made some amounts you already paid for what was already owed, the law unfortunately is not applying in retrospect. So what is already paid is paid. We can't go back to it and say no, apply a waiver because we paid, we couldn't wait, or we didn't know that there was a waiver coming in. So what is already paid is paid. So it does not apply for a waiver application. So that is critical that we should know. And then the waiver is running for 2 years from the period of enactment. So we are urging our employers that, look, maximize this period. Well, 2 years may sound like a long time.
Like a long time.
Yes,
yeah.
time does really fly a lot. So let them maximize. And also these flagged issues are key to be cleared. And some of them you find that certain accounts, you may find that the periods where the issues will go far back as 2000. So the earlier you start to clean up, the better, so that you also save the institution some money.
Yes.
Then one of the other terms is that when you pay, remember what is being waived off in certain periods is not 100%. So the only period where there is 100% application is the COVID period. That one is 100%. The period outside the COVID period, if you pay it in the first year, it's at 75%. So you still have that difference that you need to pay. So you're still obliged to make good of the difference. So that is one issue that you need to do. Because if they don't do that, there are other processes that will come into play. Remember, it's still a debt that is owed to the authority, and it is supposed to be cleared. So if they don't do that, it has other repercussions. So it's very critical that when those T's and C's pop up, don't be quick to just agree. Yes, like we always do. Because that's really tiny and fine print that you can't read, you can actually read out. So please go through them, because once you click there and you go on, some of these things you cannot go back if you don't do them properly. So we urge employers to critically read through and then go on to clear off. So those are some of the T's and C's that are applying for the waiver.
So now those that have been taken to court, how are you treating them?
Okay, so we do take employers to court for various reasons, but those that are in court with us for contribution issues, unfortunately for the periods that are in court, that we cannot apply a waiver on until if both parties will decide to settle out, or until the case is disposed of, then we can apply the waiver. So it's only for the periods that are in court. So if you have any other penalties apart from what is in court, you can still apply. But for what is in court, if you want it until we conclude on the case or any other issues I mentioned, then we'll be able to waive off that period as well.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
So employers, you heard it.
It's happening. It's real.
It's happening.
It's real, and they can really save their companies a lot of money. Of course, there's been an outcry for so long that the amounts that we've been levying as a penalty have been so high, and a lot of them have a lot of amounts sitting on their accounts. So this is an opportunity that they can save the employer some money. But also as NAPSA, we're happy when, like I was saying, when it's an opportunity to also clean up. Remember, we had the partial withdrawal. You had people complaining, have missing months. So on one side, the employer is saving. On the other side, also the member will be smiling, because the cleanup means on the other side, the member will also have their amounts starting to reflect as we upload returns, as payments are being done. So employers are doing both. They're also saving their employees, but also saving their companies a huge sum of money that can be sitting on their account. So we urge them to quickly do that. And also for KYC, even if an employer does not have a liability in terms of penalty, we are encouraging them to do the KYC. Because you will note that most of the communication that we're doing as an authority is online. We will send emails and texts and all that. But we find that most of the information that we have on the system, either somebody moved on, so it's outdated. So we're encouraging all employers, go on the portal, go and update your KYC. If they go on their website, it's very friendly.
Okay.
So they go on e-services, they'll be able to see where the penalty waiver is. There they can find the user guide. They can find the T's and C's that I've referred to, and they can be able to enjoy what the other 337 employers have done this far.
All right.
Yes.
Mrs. Silungwe, thank you so much for coming through.
Tink you so much for having me.
It was nice having you.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too, thanks.